Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Cancer energy, and like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I'll refer to as high vibe Cancer energy, the bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy energy. We've all got our dualistic nature. We have to make decisions in our life, and in our high vibe nature of hope and faith and belief and love, we could want to live our life differently. We've healed, we've grown, we've matured or something in some way, gotten tired of an old way of life, ready to face our fears to live life differently. But then in our more worldly, shadowy nature of fear and insecurity, it could hold us back. We could have some people in our life who encourage us to love and believe in ourselves. We could have other people in our life who want us to keep living life the way we've been living it, because then we'll hang out with them. And some people could be struggling within themselves right now to make a decision. Some other people have already made the decision, and some people are going to live their life in the bottom row the way they've been living it. They might have people in their life that want them to move forward in life differently, and they're like, I'm good, I'm fine. I don't feel a need to do that. I'm going to keep living life the way I've been living it. Other people are moving on in life. The truth sets us free. Again, we heal, we grow, we mature, we learn lessons in life. We look at life differently than we used to look at life. We have more hope and faith and belief than we used to. Something. And so at different points in time, some people are moving forward in life differently than they were before. Some people aren't, but they still might be moving forward in a more high vibrational way than other people in their life. Because life is all about learning lessons. And, our shadow nature is our more immature, self-indulgent, prideful, egotistical, lazy, want reward without effort, egotistical, petty, envious, jealous, manipulative. And some people are in that energy, and other people have learned that if they want their dreams to come into reality based on truth and love, they need to grow up and mature themselves and learn some lessons in life. And some people have learned those lessons, and some people haven't. So the truth sets us free, just to see the truth that everybody's where they're at. And we can't make other people change. We can offer people love and encouragement and resources, but they have to free willingly make that choice to heal or grow or mature themselves or something, and we can't make them do it. And even if people did want to change, we've all done things and wanted to change our life. For most of us, it's hard to change habits. It's hard to change viewpoints. It can take years or decades, And just because we or someone else could free ourselves from one thing that manipulates us, we still could have 5 more things that manipulate us, And eventually we might just want to hang out with people who we think have learned some of the same lessons we've learned. And we wish other people peace. Okay. So, let's go look at the bottom row first. We have the 10 of Pentacles, the 9 of Wands, the 8 of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles. And the reason that came out is because of the Ace of Cups. The 10 of Cups, or the 10 of Pentacles, can represent the world. It can represent workplaces, friendship groups, people we've known for a long time, people in our family, people we were hoping to have a long-term relationship with, and we can have love for them. But high vibe people learn lessons in life. They get out of their ego to admit that maybe they have some lessons to learn in life, and kind of eventually in their life, they kind of want the 8 of Cups going to the 9 of Cups, is wanting to be more independent. I want to love and believe in myself. I have my own dreams and aspirations. I need to be more independent in the world. I need to be more independent versus more codependent on my friend group, my hometown, my family, the world, if I want to live my own authentic life. And we can all, in the Nine of Wands, kind of be defensive of doing that. You know, people who went off to college went through this. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go into unknown territory. Maybe I should just stay here. You know, I'm defensive to loving myself and offering myself that cup of love, to believe in myself and take those slow, steady steps forward every day, to have hope and faith and belief in love and believing in myself and believing in my dreams. And sometimes we can be in workplaces, friendships, or relationships with people, and you know, we're kind of all ready to move forward at different times in our life. And sometimes some people were ready to move forward and some other people still aren't. Maybe they're more hoping other people, like, well, I'm going to wait till these people are willing to move forward. You move forward, you do your life, but I still want these people to come with me if I move forward that way. And if they don't move forward that way and view life that way, then I might keep living life like the way they live life. So from the Ten of Pentacles down to the One Pentacle is that becoming more independent. Am I willing to stand up for myself and what I believe in? You know, we can be in relationships with other people, but what we find emotionally fulfilling can be different. Our ideas of the dream life can be different. Are we willing to stand up and be more independent in our friend group, in a workplace, in our own family dynamic? To invest in our truth? Some people could have more of a harder time with that if they feel like the people in their life that they could have love for, if those people are like, if you go live your more independent life, I'm going to turn my back on you. Well, that can be shadowy energy, right? Someone trying to use the love that people have for them to manipulate them. Why are some people unwilling to move forward in life differently? The Ten of Pentacles can represent we lived our life at a phase of life and we've kind of learned everything we needed to learn there. And that's why, but we could still be defensive to listening to our intuition and be willing to look at what things do I need to let go of that keep me kind of stuck, and which are the good things to take with me. And it does just require becoming more, you have to look through those things and you have to see the truth about what needs to go and what should stay. And that alone could cause maybe some emotional confusion. The Eight of Cups is walking away from the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is Scorpio energy, and it talks about these deep emotional attachments and connections that we have. And it's also fixed sign energy where some people just don't like change. And then the 8 and the 9 and the 10 of Cups is Pisces energy, which is considered like a mutable sign. So is Virgo. It helps us kind of transition. It's kind of like the emotional energy and the earth sign energy that we kind of tap into when we're ready to quit putting work into a way of having viewed life. But it can be hard. It's hard to detach from a way of living life that we thought that was just and fair. We wanted our dreams come into reality. We enjoyed it. We had fun or something. To move forward in life differently. But you have to face your fears about moving forward in life differently, like believing, I think I can go to that next phase of life, or like take a job that has more responsibility, be more mature, feel more stable and grounded. 2 cards, Virgo energy is the Knight of Pentacles. Well, that's how I view it anyway. And High Vibe Virgo energy is about knowing your worth and value and being more independent. And the 8 of Cups and Pisces energy going to the 9 of Cups is being more emotionally independent. And some people can be really defensive of becoming independent and kind of standing up for themselves to be more independent. It doesn't matter. They could be 60 years old. And they could have a friend group, their original family, maybe if they are older like that, maybe if their children kind of manipulate them, to kind of live their more authentic life. And it's still wishing everybody peace and joy, and you live your life, and I wish you peace and joy, and I want to live my life. Hopefully you'll wish me peace and joy. But sometimes we can have people in our life who are like, no, if you're going to go do that, then I'm going to go invest in someone else. I don't want to do that. And sometimes we had to get out of friendships, relationships, and jobs because we did want things to move forward, because it's kind of going with the flow of the universe of loving yourself. We went through age 15, age 18, age 21, age 25. We didn't keep staying like a 15-year-old in the way we viewed life like a 15-year-old. We faced our fears. Yeah, we loved being a 15-year-old. That was great. But now it's time to face our fears to act more like an 18-year-old. And then we went through the same process when we were going to become 21, when we were going to become 25, and I think we're meant to keep doing that process throughout our life. But everybody can have their own ideas of how they want to live life and how they think what will be emotionally fulfilling to them. And some people have this way of living life and viewing life, and they're defensive to being more independent of that way of living life. And both the Ten of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles I view as Virgo energy. And that can be that people's more long-term way of viewing life was that they did just align with maybe their more worldly nature. My long-term goal is to look like I have stability or security and status or image or get in relationships, but it's more because I might be defensive. It might be because I'm immature. It might be because I'm more indulgent. I might be defensive to change. I don't like being more independent or single, So I want to get in relationships because some people think the answer to all their problems is just to get in a relationship. Well, we can all want to be in community and in relationship, but shadowy worldly energy can be that it's something other than love driving our decisions. Pride, ego, fear, insecurity, immaturity, self-indulgence. Some people are just in codependent energy. I haven't learned how to love and believe in myself and feel stable and grounded within myself and offer myself love and compassion and encouragement, like being a good mother, father, coach to myself in my own head. And maybe some people get really unstable, if they're not in a relationship. But the bad thing is it always makes them codependent on someone else. And sometimes then you can be abundant in a lot of ways. You could be a loving, nurturing person, but have fear of being single. Could be a loving, nurturing person, but you're just still more codependent, haven't learned to invest in loving yourself. Caught up in the illusion of the world. I need these certain things. I'm sure if I have these certain things, I'll be happy. That's my goal. And there's other people in the world that are looking for other people in that energy. Like sometimes even more shadowy, prideful, hurtful, unkind people are looking for someone who's abundant in love, abundant in attractiveness, abundant in intelligence. Maybe one person could have a lot of abundance in the world, materialistically, status, image, stability. Another person could be really abundant in love, but they really haven't learned to love themselves, so they stay in more codependent energy. And sometimes other people are like, well, I'm kind of more immature and I like to indulge myself more in a relationship, but I do have these things of the world. How about you being a loving person? You can get in a relationship with me. I'm a more worldly focused person. And if everybody is willing to appreciate what each other brings to the table, those relationships could work out. If everybody has hope and faith and belief and love, we can kind of be in these kind of more mismatched relationships if people are willing to invest in love, because love is what makes a solid foundation. But if we get kind of in a more mismatched relationship where one person can be abundant in some ways, the other person's more abundant in other ways, and their truth is different, well, I thought it was more about the ego and the image, or me. Or I thought we were going to indulge in these things of the world. That's what I think would make me happy. And the other person's like, I've kind of been there and I've done that, and I don't want to indulge in making my life about those things anymore. There's still these things I like to, maybe, high vibe energy would be in balance. That there's things I like to indulge in, but in balance, not maybe out of balance like I used to be, because I've seen the truth. That when I love myself, I'm not looking to those things outside of myself to be the answer to my problems, so I can go indulge in them and enjoy them. But it's love that really drives and motivates me, and believing in myself and freeing myself from things that manipulate me. And someone else could be like, I want to be in a relationship with you, but I don't want to free myself from things that manipulate me. Well, that's when we can really have a problem, because love, shadowy energy at the big pictures, kind of represented by the devil, all these things that try to manipulate us and control us and limit us and restrict us and oppress us. High vibe energy at the big picture, represented by God, is to be more free, to live your more authentic life and get out of being so caught up in the illusion of the world that you make your life so much about that. It's about balance. Yes, we need to put in work and effort to have some stability and security in our life, but are we going to sacrifice love for those things? Some people are. The Lover's card used to be called the Choice card. And the Lover's card is Gemini energy, which talks about our dualistic nature. We have free will. And some people in their free will are like, I'm not doing love. I get hurt doing love. I don't believe in love. Or I'm not going to do love, but I might try to get in a relationship with someone who does love. They could think love is a fantasy land and illusion. But they like to maybe be in relationships with people who have hope and faith and belief in love. They just don't. And so they could be people who free willingly choose and make that free will choice that they like to live more from their mind than their heart. They're more aligned with their worldly nature. Their truth is, I love the world, and maybe if I have these things of the world and I have a certain status and image, or I have power or clout, or I've got I'm attractive or I'm charming or something, maybe I can use all those things kind of in a manipulative way to get people to move forward with me in a relationship. And then it is more about them indulging in a relationship with someone. And some people's viewpoint is, I don't want to do love. I think those people are suckers. I want to get in a relationship with one of them. They have that hopeful, believing spirit and love. And I want them to maybe think I'm that type of person too. The only problem is you can get in those mismatched relationships, and eventually the high vibe people do see the truth. Because as they're trying to bring a dream into reality, the other people are defensive of investing in that truth. And eventually the high vibe people in their life are like, oh, why aren't we moving forward more in love, growing, healing, maturing, being more just and fair, a more deep, meaningful relationship. And then they start to realize that people are defensive of detaching from their more worldly view and being more motivated and inspired by themselves or their defensiveness, or indulging their more immature worldly nature, self-indulgent nature. Well, I thought I could just move forward with you, but I didn't think I really had to invest authentically in love. And that's when some high vibe people leave their life, because they see the truth. My dream can't come into reality with you. My dream can only come into reality with people who are motivated and inspired by love. And if you're motivated and inspired to not do love, to want to be in relationships, but kind of invest in them, but not like really authentically emotionally invest yourself in it, continue to let your ego kind of run your life, then letting your more hopeful, believing inner child nature of the Page of Pentacles come out to play in the world. So shadowy energy can just be people are more aligned with their defensive, egoic nature. I kind of keep my more hopeful, believing, loving nature buried beneath the surface. And other people are exactly the opposite. You know? They temper their shadow nature, their immature nature, their impulsive, prideful, defensive nature, and they let their more hopeful, believing nature run their life. But up here in the top row, at the end, we have the Page of Pentacles, which can talk about being a student of life, but it also represents all three of the earth sign energies, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. In my worldly nature of self, the reason for the top row's reading is the Four of Swords. I live my life in my more worldly nature, which we all do for probably the first 30, 40 years of our life. Because we grow up in the world, we get told that we should make our life about all these things, and if we make our life about all these things, we'll be happy. And it kind of isn't about really learning how to love ourselves, but we have all these lessons to learn, and we get heartbroken. And all those things that we invested in, that we defended, that we indulged in, that we invested in, that we thought for sure was love. And then we could have kind of found out that the Four of Swords is Libra energy, air sign energy, also represented by the scales of justice and the King of Swords. Though we realize that everybody has their own idea of what they think is just and fair. And we come in contact with all these different people to help us get clear about what our truth is. And that's what Virgo energy does within all of us. It goes within to see the truth and deal with the truth. And we get in these workplaces, friendships, and relationships, and we see that some people are more defensive to being more independent of things that manipulate them. Fear, insecurity, immaturity, lust, greed, pride, ego, whatever, codependency. And high vibe people have been learning lessons along the way, and we can just realize with certain people that there's still things that manipulate you that I've kind of already worked through and kind of put up good boundaries within myself to that way of being in my more worldly nature. Because I already saw the truth that when I act like that, you know, it causes heartbreak and it hurts me and it hurts other people. And I realized that wasn't just and fair, and that's not how I want to live my life, and I don't want to hang out with other people who live their life that way. And we can still know some people who are living their life like that. And we saw the truth of it. And we learned to have good boundaries to them, even though we can have love for them. You know, it's just like, you know, you say you have adult children, you have siblings, you have people in your family. But their idea of what's just and fair is different than your idea. They could be kind of defensive to you being more independent. They could want you to indulge them in their poor behavior, kind of use the love that you have for them to try to manipulate you. And it's like, that's not just and fair. Love is supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And some people are, you know, have a different idea of what's just and fair. Well, I think it's okay. I think it's just and fair because I'm defensive to change. Because the truth sets us free, and some people are defensive to emotionally investing in the truth. Well, I don't want to see the truth. I want to keep doing things the way I've been doing it. I don't want to see your truth. I don't want to look at life from that perspective. Shadowy energy can be where people want to stay in denial of the truth. If they were to see the truth, then they would have some things they would have to emotionally distance themselves from, which could just be their more worldly, defensive, immature nature that makes them feel safe and secure. It could be other people in their life that they would have to stand up to, and so that's why they don't want to see the truth, because they don't want to have to stand up to some people in their life and stand up for being more independent, don't want to stand up to their shadow nature. You know, our own shadow nature doesn't want us to heal. You know, it's like the seeds of the knowledge of good and evil were planted within us. They both want to grow. It's like all the shadowy energies of anger and bitterness and blaming everyone else for our problems and being in our more immature, lustful, greedy nature, self-indulgent nature. They want to live our life. That aspect of ourself. And it doesn't care if at the end of it we end up in the gutter. Our shadow nature would lick its fingers and say, damn, that was great. That was wonderful. And then we can have some people in our life too who really don't give a damn about how things turn out for us. As long as it works for them. That's what they love. Want someone to indulge me. Want someone to stay in a relationship with me. I want you to be more focused on me and these things of the world that I make my life about. You love me. Don't love yourself. Don't believe in justice and fairness. Let's make our life about these things. You make your life about these things. I'll make my life about these things. That could be me that I make my life about, and I want you to make your life about me too. Don't invest in being more independent and loving yourself and having your own ideas of what's just and fair. I don't want to change. I want to keep doing things just like this. And some other people saw the truth of it. And then the King of Swords, they stood up for their truth. Your truth is different than my truth. The truth is realizing in the night, the Hangman, like the Eight of Cups, is Pisces energy. You kind of operate more from pride and ego and live more from your mind than your heart. You don't seem to want to look at life from any other perspective. I've already kind of been where you've been. And I've looked at life from a different perspective. I've been illuminated to the truth. And you don't look at life from that perspective. And, you know, just like when I was living life a certain way, I could have had people in my life that were like, you should look at life from a different perspective. You should love and believe in yourself. You're being immature. Yeah, it was like talking to a brick wall. Because until we're ready, we can't move to the next phase of life until we've learned the lessons we needed to learn from a certain phase of life. Some people have learned those lessons and have been enlightened to the truth, and they don't want to repeat that old pattern. But other people are still in it. And it's like they can't move forward because they can try to fake it. Like they are more stable, grounded, mature, balanced, just, fair, loving than they really are, but they're not. And it's just seeing the truth. Everybody is where they're at. You know, you do you. You go live your life. You're going to have to learn lessons the hard way just like I did, but I've been illuminated to the truth, and I am inspired to love myself and grow up and mature myself. So when anybody's holding one pentacle in high vibe, it means that they learn lessons in life. And some other people are like, I'm good. I love the world. I like living more from my mind than my heart. I do operate from pride and ego, and it keeps me safe from being hurt. And that's what keeps inspiring me. And I am going to keep aligning with my more worldly nature. I do not want to see the truth, but I'm sure if I indulge in these things of the world, get in a relationship, have certain status or image or power, I'm sure that's the answer. I'm sure I'll be happy. I don't think it's about me getting balance within myself, looking at life from a different perspective, growing up or healing or maturing myself. No. You know, pride comes before the fall. And some people just like us when we were younger. We thought we were right. We thought we knew best. And we got in some relationships and some jobs and some friendships and went and indulged in some things of the world thinking that was the answer. But some people refuse to grow and mature and heal themselves, and they get in relationships and then they try to stop the people they're in a relationship with from being more independent and wanting more justice or fairness or loving and believing in themselves and growing and healing. I don't plan to do that. I don't want you to do that. Let's keep indulging and making our life about these things. That's just and fair. And let's keep living our life like that. And if they can find someone who wants to live their life like that, where it is more about the world and maybe making your life more about operating from ego, operating from defensiveness, operating from immaturity or lust or greed or money, well, if that's how they want to live their life, they just need to find someone who's on the same page. If some of them have someone who's willing to do that, well, then you go do it. You're both on the same page. It just might be more because they're aligned with their worldly nature. Because of the stability or the security or the money or the status. Staying in relationships with people for that reason, not because of the truth and love. But thinking this seems just and fair, I should stay in this. And if that's how they both live their life, that is a just and fair relationship. What's an injustice is if one person has hope and faith and belief and love, and someone who knows that they don't have hope and faith and belief and love tries to create an illusion that they are to get that person to invest in the relationship, and then hoping that even when they become illuminated to the truth, because of their ego, they'll trap them. A worldly person will trap a more loving person in a relationship. But people can try to trap people, but the people who end up feeling trapped, and it's hard because it's like, well, gee, I love them, and gee, it does have all these things, and we could have created a family together, we could have been in a relationship for a long time, it could have a lot of stability and security, and that's all those things that tempt us in our more worldly, immature nature. High vibe, 9 of Wands is Sagittarius energy, which is higher learning and education, and looking at life as an adventure to be lived. And I'm not going to let anyone fence me in. And if I have been offering love and encouragement and been just and fair and tried to see things from other people's perspective, tried to help them love and believe in themselves to look at life differently, and they keep choosing to be defensive, then I wish you peace. I'm moving on. And I believe our truth is different. What we think is just as fair is different. I've been illuminated to the truth. And my intuition is what I'm going to listen to, because I think my intuition was a gift given to me from the divine. If you want your divine inheritance, you have to quit investing your time, energy, and effort into things and people that aren't on the same page as you. And you have to love yourself, to believe in yourself, and invest in yourself to stand up for what you believe in. So then we go to the top row. So the people invest in taking this time to heal from heartbreak. There's some people they thought were on the same page as them that would invest in truth and love. Maybe truth and love isn't what drives and motivates them. And we see the truth of it. So in the Six of Swords, the Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords. Both the Five and the Six of Swords are Aquarius energy about, I had a dream. And our dreams are different. And Some people in the Five of Swords have a lot of mental conflict, and maybe we start to see people have a lot of mental conflict about just being more independent or learning how to offer them self-love and know how to get more balance within themselves so they're not tipping out of balance, indulging poor behavior in themselves and others, or living more from their mind and disregarding their intuition and their loving nature, and. And some people in the Five of Swords want to win at all costs, and they don't really care who gets hurt because it's really more about them. And if they indulge their more immature, worldly nature, defensive nature, they're under this illusion that other people should indulge them being that way. Well, not everybody's going to indulge people who are defensive to being more independent, defensive to investing in love, who prefer to live more from their mind than their heart, to be stubborn, and are more about thinking everybody should stay in the relationship because it looks good, it has good status, it has good image or stability, and it's like, there's more to life than just that, but they could think there isn't, because that can be the most important thing to them. So they're more caught up in the worldly dream, or it's just about themselves. And if you won't indulge them and invest in them in these shadowy ways of being, then they don't want to be in a relationship with you either. They're going to go they want to be in relationships with people who view life the way they do it. And you want to go be in relationships with people who view life the way you view it. We all like to hang out with people who we think are on the same page as us. The high vibe people saw the truth. And they worked through their mental conflict of letting go of a dream to look at life from a higher perspective, to be more independent. Again, from the 10 down to the 1 pentacle, no longer going to invest in someone who kind of wants to be independent of their loving nature. If you want to be independent of your more loving nature, then I'm going to become independent of you. I know my worth and value, and the 9 of Pentacles, like the 10 of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles, in my Virgo energy, my truth is I want to heal and grow and mature myself. I don't like my own shadowy nature manipulating me. I don't like other people in the world trying to manipulate me. I know my worth and value, and I have a mix of things that I have to offer people. I can be loving, I can be nurturing, I can have some stability, some security, some intelligence, some creativity, some imagination. All those things are what make someone abundant. And some people think, I don't care about all those other things. Maybe some people, all they care about is money. The other things I don't even care about, I just want the money, So then, from the 6 down to the 2, we let go of the 4 of Swords, of trying to heal things with people who their long-term goal and what their truth is, and what drives and motivates them, is different. And we wish them peace. Different strokes for different folks. Everybody has free will to live your life whatever way you want. You just have to deal with the consequences of your life decisions. And we realized our idea of the dream life and what we think is just and fair is different than their idea of the dream life and what they think is just and fair. And now, listening to our intuition to guide us, where we have to learn lessons about listening to our intuition, because we all, kind of in our pride and ego, it's like, oh no, God, this is going to work. Even if it does seem, but they're kind of immature. It's like, oh, I know, but I'll change them. They seem kind of defensive to love. I know, I'm going to change them. They seem to be caught up in this, like, I know, I'm going to change them. Because you can have that hopeful, believing spirit thinking everybody's motivated and inspired by love, but not everybody is. And they don't want to change. They want to keep moving forward in the way that they live life. If they had wanted to be a different type of person, they would have been a different type of person. And that can be the truth that we realize. I'm done trying to change people. I have learned through this life experience that some people are defensive to connecting in with their emotions and their intuition, and they could disregard that aspect, and they're fine not, kind of, again, using their emotions and their sexuality and all those ways, things in a more manipulative way. And this whole experience has made me appreciate and get clear about what my truth is and what I bring to the table. And it's also taught me to listen to my intuition. That if people still need to heal, I wish them peace, and I keep moving on. I can treat everybody with love and respect and encouragement and socialize with different people. Am I going to move forward to try to bring a dream into reality when you still seem to be stuck about looking at life from a higher perspective? Don't listen to your intuition, might get more caught up in your head and make decisions more out of your fear or your insecurity. No, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to listen to my intuition about what drives and motivates people, what their truth is, if they've healed, if they haven't healed. And I'm going to listen to my intuition and believe in my dreams, is what the Three of Wands talks about. And then I'm going to make good decisions in my life, because the only person I can control is me. And I'm going in the Emperor energy of myself. I'm going to make good decisions in my life. I have learned that if I take action more out of pride and ego and fear and insecurity and defensiveness and lust and greed, I get in relationships with people who are happy that I'm making decisions that way. Because to some degree, they're in their own shadowy energy, and they're like, perfect, let's move forward in a relationship. Let's get married. And it's like, if I want the justice I deserve, I have to look at life from a different perspective. I have to be inspired to love myself, love my own worldly nature, to grow and heal and mature myself, and learn these lessons in life, make better decisions in my life. And then be willing to be a student of life. Have that hopeful, believing spirit. The Page of Pentacles can talk about, making small gestures to people. Looking to find people in the world who you think are on the same page as you. Who are more balanced within themselves than tipped out of balance. People who kind of view what they think is just and fair is kind of similar to what you think is just and fair. That have learned to love themselves and invest in their more hopeful, believing inner child nature than their self-protective, self-defensive nature. We can't let you go out in the world. You could get hurt. We're going to keep you buried underneath the surface, and your ego's going to run your life. That way, even if things don't work out the way you want, you didn't really invest in people emotionally anyway, so it really doesn't hurt as much. But high vibe people, life's an adventure to be lived. And if I'm not willing to be more authentic and just and fair and hopeful and believing and maintain balance within myself and heal and grow and mature myself, how do I ever expect to be in relationships with people who are like that? And that's what some people don't get. Some people do not want to see the truth. I don't got to do that. No. Look at these things I have. I'm attractive. I'm charming. I have money. I'm smart. Will use my sexuality and my emotions manipulatively. I'll offer people things of the world that I have. I'm sure there's other people who feel stuck, who will decide it makes practical, logical sense to get in a relationship with me. Well, they might get in a relationship with you for a while, but eventually they become defensive and they don't want to be in the relationship anymore. Because to be in a relationship, the Ten of Pentacles in shadow can be someone who's unbudging, kind of like the King of Swords and the Hangman. I refuse to look at life from any other perspective. This is my truth. This is how I view life. This is how I want to move forward. It's like, well, that's great. But that's great if you want to live your life that way. But if you're going to try to work together with other people to bring a dream into reality, well, then it's supposed to be working cooperatively with people, and they have their ways of viewing life too. Is one person supposed to be very able to be very stubborn and unbudging and inflexible, and yet the other person is supposed to just navigate around all that? Well, what gives them the right to be? I mean, what if the other person was all stubborn and unbudging? That's fine. If you want to be single and just be more about yourself, but you also, if you want to be in relationships with people, you should tell people the truth. Oh, by the way, I kind of have these certain ways of living life and viewing life. And, some people could view the high vibe people as unbudging and inflexible. But the high vibe people is like, well, I want you to treat me the way you like to be treated. I like to be in relationships with people who make good decisions in their life. And if I'm in a relationship with them and the decisions they make affect me, I would like them to take me into consideration instead of just being all about themselves. And I, in turn, in the relationship, will take them into consideration about the decisions that I make. And if I view someone as someone I could have a dream come into reality, and I respect them as their own independent individual with their own unique talent, skills, and interest and dreams and things they want to invest their time, energy, and effort into, I want to be respected in that same way. And if I listen to my intuition instead of getting caught all up in my head and my fear and taking kind of more indulgent action or being stubborn or prideful or immature, I want to be in relationships with other people who take that into account also. I want to be in relationships with people who are inspired by the same dream I have. And if that's not your dream, then quit acting like it is. And I want someone who's learned how to be like a good mother, father, coach voice to their own inner child nature, so their inner child nature can grow up and mature itself instead of trying to present themselves as this more stable, grounded, emotionally mature person, but they're really immature. And they just try to confuse people about the truth of who they are. And I think as you high vibe people are moving forward in that energy, you've healed. These other people keep thinking if they make their life about these things, they don't have to heal. They don't have to deal with the truth about themselves or others. And so some people are going to repeat an old pattern because they weren't willing to do the work to see the truth and love themselves and be more independent and have that hopeful, believing spirit. So they kind of keep indulging themselves in their defensiveness, in their ego, in their worldly nature. And other people are going to move on. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Cancer energy? Investing in other people who you think harness high vibe Aquarius, Virgo, Libra, Aries, and all the earth sign energies on board with having hope and faith and belief and love. What's coming up for you? You might be intuitive that there can always be other people who would like to be in a relationship with you, but some of those people are immature, they're more codependent, they're more bossy and controlling, and there might be some other people that you think really are on the same page as you. But, until, and you probably have some people in your life who are investing in you in that way, friends, family, adult children, whoever. There could be other people that you think are really more on the same page as you, but, you're waiting to see if they really are on the same page as you're moving forward in life. And if they don't, you'll heal from that too, and you won't get all up in your head about it. It's like, well, I guess we're not on the same page, or they've moved on or in that kind of relationship with someone else. High vibe people deal with the truth. Some people are in more shadowy energy because they keep thinking, even though they took action more out of pride and ego and stubbornness, they keep thinking maybe, or that someone moved away from them, but they still don't want to see the truth. And they could keep thinking, no, no, no. I'm sure those people will come back and want to get in a relationship with me. But the thing is, some shadowy people wanted to get in relationships with some other people who are more worldly and shadowy. Well, if you're in a relationship and the reason you're in it isn't because of love, well, if someone would have had to grow or heal or mature themselves to some degree, in any relationship, you kind of got to be willing to compromise some. There might have been someone that they wanted to be in a relationship with, but that person's like, well, I'd have to grow up and mature myself some in order to be in a relationship with you. And I'm too prideful and stubborn and egotistical to admit that. I'd rather just leave the relationship and go get in a relationship with someone else, maybe make up some reason. And I'm just not willing to grow up and heal and mature myself. Or maybe someone was more materialistically driven than they thought. And if somebody had more money, more status, more image, more power, they'd just go get in a relationship with that person. And then some of those people can feel stuck because they thought for sure they had a good idea. And they thought for sure this person was kind of on the same page as them. And yeah, they were. They could have thought this would be a great relationship. I'd love being in a relationship. We're both kind of driven by these things. It's like, yeah, they're driven by those things too. And some of those people, it wasn't love, And some people are still trying to make people who are in shadowy energy love them, to change. And other people tried to offer love to other people. We're hoping those people would change. And those people saw the truth. And those people moved on. And some people are like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm sure they're going to come want to be in a relationship with me one day. What's coming up for the high vibe people? The Page of Cups and the King of Wands. Why? Because of the Seven of Cups. High vibe people offer love to the past. The difference between the 1 cup and the 7 of cups is the 6 of cups. And the 6 of cups can talk about reconciling yourself with the past. I've come to a place of peace about the past. And the 7 of cups is Scorpio energy, that you can see that some people are caught up in illusions. Some people are more fixed and stubborn and unwilling to change. You could have dealt with some people that are more shadowy. Scorpio can be more emotionally shallow and superficial, and it is all about them or ego and image, and it's not really about love. And you harness high vibe Scorpio energy, which is you want to be in deep, meaningful relationships. And you kind of saw through the illusion you had about some people, and you just realized that they aren't maybe who you thought they were, and you made peace with the situation to move forward. The 1 cup plus the 7 of cups makes the 8 of cups. I see the truth. We're kind of at different stages in life, view life differently, whatever. And I see the truth, and I'm going to move on. And in your King of Wands energy, like the 3 of Wands and the Emperor, you're harnessing high vibe Aries energy, high vibe Libra, high vibe Aquarius, high vibe Virgo, high vibe Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. And you might know some people who don't. And you're bold and brave and inspired to have a new beginning. And wanting to move forward with people who've been illuminated to some of the same truths as you have. To get the justice you deserve. And you've healed from the situation. Just accepting that everyone is where they're at, not taking it personally. However you needed to heal and grow and mature yourself, you did that. Other people got to do that, work within themselves. You feel balanced within yourself. You are ready to have this new beginning. And then I think as you move forward and you're in this energy, There's going to be other people who want to be in a relationship with you because they feel like you're on the same page as them. And there's other people that have gone on this journey ahead of you, and they've kind of been listening to their intuition and waiting for people like you to come around in the world. And just like you're going out in the world and offering peace and love to people to see who wants to move forward with me in this way. Some people will move forward with you in that way. Some people that you have in your life, some people you meet in your future. Some people you're going to wish peace to. It's like, yeah, I don't think we're on the same page. Because there's always going to, because you have free will, there's always going to be more worldly, shadowy people that could be attracted to you, want to be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you. And you would hold back your King of Wands energy of taking more passionate action and letting your fiery nature run your life to get to know you. And the people who are in the same boat as you, everybody could be attracted to each other. Everybody could want to get in a relationship. But the pages can talk about, let's get to know each other. And really, because we've had these life experiences, let's get to know each other to find out, again, what kind of drives and motivates us. Are you more about yourself? Are you kind of bossy and controlling? Are you kind of immature? Do you like to stay in denial of the truth? Are you more about ego and image and being indulged? Have you looked at life from a higher perspective? Have you not? And work through that emotional confusion and not let people emotionally try to tempt you to get caught up in the illusion. It's like, no, I'm willing to invest time, energy, and effort into people and emotionally get to know people, but I'm not going to make a more definite decision and action until I know the truth about what they think is just and fair, to see if we're on the same page. What's coming up for people who harness some more worldly, shadowy Cancer energy that they might not see coming? The Tower. Why? Because of the Queen of Swords. Well, some people are unstable. They do align with their more shadowy nature. Why? Because of the Queen of Swords, which can be, the queens can talk about how we think and feel. We've all been betrayed before, right? We've all been in relationships and workplaces and stuff where we wanted things to move forward and things to be just and fair and wanted other people to grow and heal and mature themselves and look at life from different perspectives. But some people did this inner work and they offered love to the past so they could free themselves from the past. And again, you have to be willing to deal with the truth. If there was things in my past that didn't work out, that I felt betrayed by, how did I contribute to that not working out? I have to see the truth about myself. Where did I need to heal and grow and mature myself? What about the people I was dealing with? Why didn't they move forward with me in this way? Were they defensive? Were they immature? Were they more materialistic? Were they just creating an illusion? Were they more indulgent? Some people have a hard time, though. Some people, they are kind of more about themselves, and they don't want to see the truth. Shadowy Aquarius can be where they think everybody else should put aside their pride and ego in the relationship, but never them. They're the shining star. Again, some people kind of think I'm the boss, whether they're male or female, and I have these certain traits or qualities or characteristics or assets. People should be willing to indulge me in a relationship. I think that's just and fair, and other people don't think it's just and fair. And people who harness a different Aquarius energy and Cancer energy, eventually they see the truth of these people's foundation, and they also feel betrayed. And they realize you're either more self-driven, ego-driven, worldly-driven, or stubborn, or haven't healed from past pain and heartbreak. And my dream can't come into reality with you. And I'm going to stand in my truth and deal with the truth And I'm going to move forward in my life to find the people in the world who I do think are more on the same page. And so that's something some people keep thinking, no, 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 this will work. No, no, no. And they keep doing the same thing over and over. I'm defensive to being more independent from my worldly nature. I have an idea. I'm going to offer people things of the world. I'm going to offer that maybe to people who are loving, who don't act like me, who are more just and fair and enlightened. I'm sure if I get them in a relationship, because of the stability or the security or then the codependency that can come from it, I bet they'll keep staying in the relationship and indulging me in my shadow nature anyway. And people can indulge people for a long time because they don't want to end the relationship. But eventually, the divine keeps showing like disruption after disruption. This is not a safe, stable, you need to get out of here. And eventually the high vibe people aren't willing to give up their dream. And they see that the other person, their dreams are different. What drives and motivates them is different. And eventually some of them again are having high vibe people in their life leave those jobs, leave those friendships, leave those relationships. Because they see the truth that these people aren't willing to do love and be more just and fair and try to see things from other people's perspectives because they haven't healed from some past issues that they keep thinking I don't need to deal with. But it affects how they act in their life and in their relationships. And until they see the truth of it, it's going to keep the things they keep trying to get this dream to come into reality. Both people have to be planting good seeds to have a good harvest. And some people think, no, I just need to get in a relationship with someone who plants good seeds. And I don't have to do that. It's like, well, eventually those people don't want to stay in a relationship with you. And that's what they don't get. And for some, they could be confused. I don't get it. I have these certain things. Why don't they let me move forward with them? Because they want to be in relationships with people who are in that same energy. And you're not in it. But I act like I am. And that's not enough. That's trying to emotionally confuse people about the truth. Are you inspired to be in deep, meaningful relationships? Well, no. Well, that's the difference. Some people have a dream of being an authentic, where people let their more hopeful, believing inner child nature come out to play. And they can have these deep, meaningful relationships with them. And other people are like, I'm not doing that. And other people get out of their defensiveness and work through their own past pain and heartbreak to not stay in the relationship anymore, to free themselves. And the people who will probably keep staying in a relationship with them are people who somewhere along the line gave up in believing in themselves and believing in their dreams and are willing to be and stay in an unstable relationship or not built on love because it makes logical, practical sense and they feel stuck. So they'll get in the relationship and stay in the relationship or the job because they don't want to maybe just be single. Haven't learned to invest in loving themselves to stand up for what they believe in. So it could just be a more codependent relationship. And both people could kind of be defensive and both people could maybe even want to leave the relationship. But because it looks good, they're not willing to get out of it. By worldly standards, it could look really good. So I'll stay in it anyway. And they're going to keep having disruption after disruption because the divine doesn't like people being imprisoned. And it's just a common consequence of being in an imbalanced or unjust or unloving situation that things keep happening over and over and over to show you this is not a safe and stable and secure foundation, but people can ignore it for a really long time or forever. Some people, it's just like, this isn't my dream, but I'm willing to stay in it for these other reasons. And other people just weren't willing to stay in it for those reasons. And they'd rather be single, enjoying their life with the people in their life and their career and whatever, not having to, not willing to give up on their dreams. My dream can only come into reality with people who are on the same page as me. And if I keep investing my time, energy, and effort into people and places that it's not coming into reality, I need to be free to be out in the world to go see what's available. Does that mean it's going to happen right away? No, with the divine, it can take time, because the divine, we're not trying to manipulate and control people and tempt people or trap people or whatever in lust or greed. I'm looking for people who are just and fair and balanced. And shadowy energy, represented by the devil, can be like the quick fix and short-term satisfaction, thinking that will be the answer, and other people have already learned that's not the answer. So I'm going to take the slow, steady path, and I'm going to keep listening to my intuition, and I don't want to be investing in people I don't really want to be investing in. So I'm not going to. And if I have friendly, supportive, encouraging people in my life, then I'm going to enjoy that life, and I have justice. You know, we can be brought up in the world like, oh my gosh, like you got to be in a relationship or you got to be married. That's what's going to make you happy, or blah, blah, blah. It's like, I was in that and that didn't make me happy. So I'm only going to get in one if that is the right relationship. Some shadowy people, you know, you're either being just and fair and truthful and honest. Some shadowy people right now, because they're trying to manipulate people to get them to do what they want, might kind of distance themselves from some people, thinking those people will feel stuck and they're not going to tell the truth and they're going to go do something else, thinking that the people that they want to invest in them will invest in them, because they won't love and believe in themselves enough to move on. And for some people, that'll be the final time they do that, because the people in their life who have been doing this work within themselves to love and believe in themselves, that they deserve a more just and fair and balanced relationship, when these people try it one more time, that's going to be the end of it. And that's when those people are like, I wish you peace, but I'm leaving. You know, it's always like there's Judgment Day. And for some people, Judgment Day is going to come. So there you go, Cancer. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.